Shalom Avracha. This week's parasha, Parashat Emor, includes Sfiras HaOmer. Sfirat HaOmer, which is the count that we count 50 days from Pesach, Macharas HaShabbos, that Chazal understand to be the day after the first day of Pesach. We count 50 days. And then, says the Torah, there's a Yom Tov. Ukrasem Lachem, we have to call upon ourselves. On this day, after 50 days of counting, we have a Yom Tov, a Chag, which is Chag HaShavuos. Now we know, Chazal tell us that Chag HaShavuos is Zman Matan Torasenu, but the Torah doesn't mention it. It says count 50 days and have a Yom Tov. Why not say that this is a commemoration of the giving of the Torah? And beyond that, it's not necessarily the same day as the day on which we received the Torah, because before we had the standardized calendar of the Jewish people, when the date was determined by testimony to the new month, then it could fall on different days. Shavuos was not on a standard date. It was 50 days from Pesach, and therefore it's not exactly a commemoration of the day on which we received Pesach, we received the Torah. Certainly it's in that area. We received the Torah at the beginning of the month of Sivan, but not necessarily on the exact day. And in fact, the Gemara has a discussion, which exact day did we receive the Torah on? Because of these questions, the Rivash indeed writes that Shavuos only became Zman Matan Torasenu after the calendar was standardized, and then we started mentioning this in our davening. And this is very strange. From many places in Chazal, it seems clear that the festival of Shavuos is inextricably linked to the idea of receiving Torah. But why then doesn't the Torah mention it, and surely it isn't quite the right day? I think that the answer to both of these questions can be contingent or understood based on the Rambam Or Nevuchim in Chelik Beis, where he speaks about prophecy. The Rambam writes that there's certain types, at the very least, of prophecy in which the Dvar Hashem is present in the world. The Dvar Hashem is there, but only somebody who reaches the level of prophecy, reaches the greatness needed to be a prophet, is able to hear that Dvar Hashem, is able to have the receptacle to receive that transmission of Dvar Hashem, which is present always in the world. But the prophet has to be ready he needs to have the greatness to be able to receive it, to hear the Dvar Hashem. And the same thing with the Jewish people. The Jewish people are created with the Torah. As the Maharal explains, the Torah and the Jewish people are made for each other. You can't have the Jewish people without the Torah. And that's why he says, Kafa Aleim Har Kagigis, there's an element of coercion. We must be with the Torah. However, when we came out from Mitzrayim, it was like a newborn baby. It was unable to accept the responsibility of Torah, the responsibility of mitzvahs, the idea of bringing the word of Hashem into the world. We were unready for that. We were not at the level of greatness that is required for receiving the Torah. And therefore, we need to go through this process of Sfiras HaOmer, 50 days, in order to reach a level of maturity, of readiness, of greatness to receive the Torah. And that's why it's not a specific date. It's 50 days of counting. As soon as we're ready, that's when we receive the Torah. And that's why it's not mentioned in the Psukim, because it's not about commemorating the receiving of the Torah. It's about rising up, going through the process of maturity, of readiness, and then the Torah is with us. And then we're ready to perform our mission of the Jewish people, which of course goes through the Torah. But it's not about commemorating receiving the Torah. It's about every year reenacting this process of rising up to our full potential, of accepting responsibility and being great enough to discharge that responsibility, which happens through the Torah. And I think this is very relevant for the Jewish people today, because we have our own new beginning. We can call it a new Yetzias Mitzrayim, a Yetzia from the nations and coming to Eretz Israel, to the state of Israel. But this new beginning happened in a way that we were not yet fully mature, fully ready to realize what a Jewish state needs to be. That takes time. It takes time for that maturity, for that greatness, for that readiness to actually kick in and to be able to realize everything that we need to do to bring the state to be deeply Jewish and deeply representative of what it means to have a Jewish political entity. And perhaps the time that we're going through today, this period of strife, of difficulty, of war, of painful losses, of hostages that we still need to rescue and to bring home, perhaps this time is the greatest wake-up call that we've ever had, to take that responsibility, to go through the process of Sfiras HaOmer, the process of maturity, of growth, of readiness for that great responsibility of bringing, of expressing, of realizing everything that being Jewish entails in the political sense, in the sense of the State of Israel. Certainly, we're still waiting for that time. We're not there yet. However, Sfiras HaOmer reminds us that it's up to us to go through that process of being ready for the enactment, the realization of Torah, in a personal sense, of course, but more than ever, in the national sense, where today we have to live up, to rise up to that challenge and to enact and realize the Torah in the space of the State of Israel in order to make it into all that it can and needs to be as a Jewish state. We should all have a beautiful Shabbos.